What's up? Are you recording now?
Yeah, I was just gonna let it roll. So
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
time we start Yana there, we are back.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, like there's something interesting that I found out during the week.
Which is?
It turns out like intelligence predicts, the level of disgust that you feel.
Is it?
The more intelligent you are,
the more
the less disgusted you are.
It's not,
Actually,
it's
yeah,
not
that's
supposed
what-
to be the other way
The
around.
less
though.
disgusted you are.
Yeah,
You're not supposed
it's
to
an
be more.
inverse relationship. Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah, that's what they say.
It's inversely proportional.
inversely proportional. Yeah, in that sense. Yeah.
But wait, isn't supposed to be the other way around though?
Hey,
because I mean, when you're more intelligent, you get annoyed at the little things that people do. Because
well,
you are at a higher level,
Yeah.
and then you can't relate to the people at the lower level.
Yeah, because that was my understanding because of Hitler. Yeah, because it turns out Hitler was so intelligent. Yeah, that he was disgusted with many things. Even
Or
himself.
was he though? It could have been that he was not really. I mean, he had a big self-esteem, not necessarily intelligence. That's what I understand.
He was
Like,
quite
you know,
intelligent. Though.
Could-
Did you see how he
but he
manipulated
was
people,
failing a
bro?
lot. Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah, but I think with manipulation, sometimes you don't really need to be smart. Man. Like I mean, people that cry a lot can what do you call it? Manipulate you by doing that. Just knowing that you respond to them and their emotions.
Yeah, but Maninga, did you see how Hitler manipulated those people, bro? Mass
Oh, we're
manipulation.
not recording into it, but into
Into
the
the
thing
PC.
now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You see what I mean, though? Mass
Mhm.
manipulation, though, bro. That takes a lot of planning, bro.
Yeah, but
And
no, I do
coordination.
understand it. Obviously, at the end of the day, like we don't know exactly how many people were behind his plans. I mean, he had a party anyway, so he was the mastermind, but I don't think like to everything.
But what do you mean when you say disgust? Disgust in terms of what, though?
Like,
In which context? Like baby boo, like
yeah, something of that sort. Yeah.
Oh.
So they're saying like the more smarter you are, the less what do you call it? Disgusted you
Oh,
are
okay.
with such stuff. You know.
Well,
But
if it,
isn't that more based on exposure, though? You've just been seeing it and
Oh yeah,
you're
well,
desensitized
there's
to
that,
it.
of course. I mean, it's like if I tend to think about people like in the Aboriginal regions there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's gross that happens in that society.
Yeah, so they were like,
You know,
you-
so that could be a confounding factor in that sense. But at the end of the day, like in general, like that's what they're saying.
Is it? Because I found
Yeah.
a lot of white people get disgusted with many things, bro. Even cockroaches, yeah, they're disgusted. If you get what I'm saying.
Well, are they smarter than us though?
that's the
That's the
thing.
That's the
question
thing.
now.
So maybe
Yeah.
we are the smarter people.
Probably, most likely.
But yeah, but I mean, like we don't want to say anything.
yeah, incorrect.
We're just playing here.
Oh, wait.
Okay. Well, what's going on? Welcome to the Bro Philosophy Podcast, the show that keeps you up to date with philosophies, all the nonsense that's happening in the world right now, man.
Mhm.
So yeah, we just want to digest everything at this point. We just want to part at the end of the day. So joining me are my dearest friends. My name is Farai, by the way.
Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Apiwe.
Ephraim, but I've been ordered to introduce myself as Ritsepili.
You should feel comfortable in that, man. Afrocentricity at the end of the day,
I
man.
won't say by whom, yeah.
Oh, well, it pretty much speaks for itself. Because I was hearing sounds while you were. So, yeah. Anyway, today we're going to be exploring a topic that has people, anxious at this current moment because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But anyway, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence.
Look, I think what I understand about the term artificial intelligence, it has to do with sometimes it's called machine intelligence.
Machine learning,
Yeah, machine learning, which is
which is the same thing.
Yeah.
basically, though.
Okay.
it's the base of taking the machine to the cognitive function that are associated with human mind in a way. So I don't know, man. I have a lot of anxieties and the good and the bad things about this. But yeah, we'll explore more of that going forward.
Hey, they just hit my
Okay.
nose, yeah.
Easy.
Pop in my nose.
Yeah, no, we'll give you time to just recuperate there.
Yeah, nice.
But anyway, like, I mean, so you cats yesterday, we went to Pick and Pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of going to the till, to pay for our items, we went to a machine basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of like rung our items and we were just like, at the drop of a dime, we're out.
Yeah.
Right, so what do you feel about that? Like, what does that make you feel? Knowing that, machines can actually do work that we thought only human beings need to be around to be doing.
Yeah, bro.
Hey.
I feel like there's pros and cons, man. to
Yeah,
it. It's
that's
hard
what I
to
was to
say.
say.
I mean, a part of me is like, okay, it's cool. Like, at least I don't have to do it. But then the other side is like maybe someone else needs to do that work. They need that work, man. You understand? So that machine is now taking bread from someone's table now. You see?
Oh, yeah. So it's, yeah, of course. So, I mean, if I think about it, like, I think maybe one of the biggest anxieties that are around this whole thing is that people seem to believe, like, at some point, that since these machines, or what do you call it, learning to be a certain way, they might actually develop autonomy in the sense that there isn't any human factor into it. It's already there though, but just not in the extreme sense that people imagine that it might go. So what do you feel, Cats, about that? Do you feel like it's ever gonna get to that, or
it might, man? But the thing is, I was watching this documentary, when was it, 2 days ago, with Michio Kaku. You know the guy, string theory guy. Yeah, he's also like a futurist and stuff. And Elon Musk, another one with Elon Musk. So the prediction is that within this decade, though, the highest intelligence that a machine will ever get to within these 100 years is possibly going to be the same intelligence as that of a dog. So for that to move to a monkey and then a human being is going to take almost like a long time. But it seems like the only way to circumvent such things from happening, though, like a machine uprising, if you call it, is for us to become mechanically augmented. So we sort of fuse with the machines. So most people don't feel like we'll even get to that point where machines rise against us, because we might eventually get to a point where we are actually digitized ourselves.
Oh, that's what you mean when you say we must kind of infuse ourselves with the machines.
No, it's like a step-by-step kind of thing. First thing you do, have you ever watched the movie Repo Man? Let's say your heart fails, right? They can synthesize a heart for you.
Okay.
Depending, they can use biotechnology or they can use nanoscience, depending on what type of fabric they use.
There's like pacemakers, like you got that also. Like it's almost a thing that teaches your heart to beat in a sense. Like it's giving it electrical pulses,
basically,
for every beat. So you could have that as well. So but I don't see it going there.
I'm not really that.
So, they're already growing.
No, maybe as a dog, like what they're saying exactly. They are doing that.
Yeah, like
no,
3D machines.
Yeah, no, I understand that whole thing about, like, let's say being an android at some point, or like having like bionic human beings. In a sense, I could see that happening. But with AI though, I don't see it learning as much as possible to the point that we are the same.
I think so, bro. Because now they're actually working on. I think Elon Musk. Is it Elon Musk's company? I don't know, but Michio Kaku mentioned this project that is happening there in the States where they're actually trying to map up the human brain. So they're actually going to use that now to cure Alzheimer's. So if you forget things, they can actually map out your brain and keep all your memories so that when you forget, you can actually take it in pill form or something like that. Or they can actually implant a chip in your brain that now records all your memories.
Yeah.
So
no, I get it. Like it's for me, I understand that because you can model the way that the brain works, because neurocircuitry is a real thing. Like you get like certain nodes and links, that link these brain regions and everything like that. Synaptic connections and all that nonsense there. So I get that. I think that can happen. What I'm thinking is that an autonomous machine that thinks like a human being, such that it rebels against a human being, I don't see it going there.
Why do you think so?
I also don't see it that way. I think the AI is limited.
It's limited.
That
right? But the thing is, it's only right now that it's limited. Though there was this chess game, but it's not actually not a chess game. There's a game. It's called the most difficult game, like board game in the world, right? So the best player in the world was playing against a machine learning
machine.
Right. At first, the guy won against the machine because the machine was actually being programmed, obviously, by human beings, right? But then next thing, once they actually found that the machine was actually learning moves by itself, and it beat the smartest mind in that game.
Yeah, they built it that way. Like they incorporated AI now. Like before, I think it was just feeding it a bit of rules, and then it would always lose.
Follow those rules.
Yes,
but then now they inbuilt it and put AI such that it can learn
by itself.
Yeah, exactly, and it bit the cat. I think it's in China. I think I must have seen something like that.
In China, yeah. So imagine if a machine could learn to do that, and it's only at this primitive stage. As more developments get, what else can you teach the machine to learn? And you have to now take into account how quick a machine can process.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to say. Like, I think with this cat who lost against this game, it's more of a thing where he has certain limitations, man. So it's like that machine just makes it better. Like, you can't calculate the same way that a computer does. But at the end of the day, the computer is much more stupid than a human being because you kind of need to feed it.
the information.
At the end of the day,
that's how it has to be.
I mean, the way that AI works is by using a lot of data, right? At the end of the day, if you just put that away from it, it's not going to learn anything.
Yeah, obviously, it's not it's not sentient, man.
It doesn't have its own sentiment.
Sense, yes. Like, you're programming it to be something.
Yeah.
But based on your programming, it will eventually become way better than a human being at doing that task.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, all the database and the way to process it is way more quicker than us and way more advanced.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So obviously the machine doesn't have its own soul, man. So it's hard. You see now, it goes to the soul, man.
Exactly, yeah.
So
it's exactly that for me.
It's a debate now to say, will it ever be smarter than us? Is it smarter or simply just way more equipped?
I think it's way more
efficient
equipped,
also, yeah.
more
Exactly.
efficient, because it can process a lot of data in a short space of time that a human can't do.
Yeah, so I think
so. It's limited in that manner. That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, like, also, like, the technology itself, like, it's taken a while to grow. I mean, for the longest time, it was still doing all this thing of data capturing and then using the data to predict sort of things, certain things, right? But at the end of the day, like, it's only very recently in the 2000s that it could recognize faces. You know, because, like, there's a lot that needs to happen first before. You know, I think a human being is a complicated person, bro. Like, and I feel like you kind of need a lot of variables that it learns at the same time for it to actually capture humanity.
Yeah, but maybe a machine doesn't need to become a human, man. Maybe it doesn't need humanity. Maybe humanity might be what's slowing us down to making efficient decisions, man, at the end of the day. Because you also have the emotions now to take into account. Whereas a machine won't have emotions that much, I think.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but we can also...
we're just calculating what needs to be done.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we can also just understand the fact that, you know, movies play a big role in our imaginations, really.
Yeah, for
because,
sure.
I mean, like, if you look at The Matrix, like, that was some sort of machine that learned how to be autonomous and then now, you know, took over the whole system and now simulates reality for human beings, in a sense, you see. And I feel like some people get the anxieties from that. Though not entirely. Some people who are working with the machines can project, like, let's say maybe 50 years in the future and say, okay, well, you know, at the pace that we're going at, we could actually get to a point where a machine can be autonomous. Maybe, you see. So it's like... But
it might be, though. Because, I mean, if you look at the Tesla cars right now, I think right now they're working on the autopilot system, right? Which means you can actually just leave the car to drive itself. And
trucks exist, actually. Like, there's a company in the States that has trucks, like, you know, that actually drive themselves. They don't need but they still have drivers in there, just, you know, for the sake of, I don't know what the sake is really, but, like, you know, people don't trust machines at the end of the day. Like,
stop and
go. Yeah, I think they just need people to be more comfortable with these cars that drive themselves.
Exactly.
But you see, if they're already starting to become autonomous now, that's kind of like the first step of autonomy now.
Yeah. No, it's true. Kind of it's just that now it's like, you know, there's a model that is built now. It just knows laws. At the end of the day. So it's like, it's almost like it's not really processing, do I need to do this?
Yeah, no, it's it just does what it's programmed to do. Yeah. But the thing is, this is, as we said, it's still the first phases, right, of autonomy.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Imagine what, in the next 50 years, the capabilities that it might be able to do.
Yeah,
of course, every time it's advancing, the technology is advancing.
So I think it might eventually get there. I think even the laws might have to change now. Do we now consider this thing to be living?
Okay.
Hey man, I think as long as it's being regulated, I think that's what matters. Even it gets to advanced stage, if it's not regulated, then it can go out of hand.
Because I always look at machines the same way that we, sort of black people, sort of came into play.
Okay.
At first, we were also considered to be 3/5 of human beings, more animal than being, right? But then, as people started,
but that wasn't true, though.
So it was to push an agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it will eventually get to a point where machines might be a bit aware of themselves, man. Because I feel like the only thing that makes you worthy to have rights is your self-awareness, right? Because it means once you're aware of yourself, you can make decisions for yourself, man.
But then
that's where it becomes tricky. Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like they can carry out the tasks that maybe human beings do, and maybe have a decision-making tree where they think like, okay, maybe right now, what do we have? So many people on the planet, we kind of need to half that population. Maybe they might do that, but not from a personality point of view. More from just laws, like I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's like a thing where they'll be self-aware. This is just from me, though. Because from looking at what current machines do, it's not that this thing is like, I want to win. It's just an algorithm at the end of the day. that is built a certain way.
Just feed an algorithm into it and then it execute.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know, like
yeah, but I think it's because man, the computing system we have is quite primitive in itself. Like a machine will only have a specific task. This one has only a specific task. But I think eventually, because it's like I was watching this one documentary, right? So they were saying that the ultimate aim of everything is to make everything into a smart thing, right? And everything that is smart, the internet in itself is connected to one base here, which they call the brain, the global brain or the world brain.
Okay.
So basically, all the world's information will be stuck in that one AI thing. So imagine that AI will know almost everything about you.
Yeah, that's possible.
The world, basically.
Exactly.
Because now they'll have cameras everywhere in the world. Your wall will be a smart wall, smart fridge. There's like cameras everywhere. It sees almost everything at the same time. It's kind of like God in a way. It sees almost everything. Maybe it doesn't have a personality, but in itself, that's kind of like the ultimate like threat if you think about it. I'm not sure if you guys watch. Have you ever watched Westworld?
Yeah, I did. Like I think I watched like the very first 3 episodes, I think, and then stopped after a while.
So the last season of Westworld, these French people create like this big ball. That's basically what people are trying to do now. Right? That thing is connected to all the servers in the world, to all the cameras in the world, and all the accounts of everyone that exists. And it watches people on what they do, and it predicts what is the most likely outcome of your life.
Okay. I think, like, let's say, okay, maybe, I think this one here we'll have to deal with it a little later, so that we can stick to the framework and, you know, kind of like break it down in an orderly manner. So, you know, without much further ado, let's like just check the promises. What do we think? Like, you know, what are the promises? Like I said before, we already went to Pick and Pay, right? And they had a machine service at the end of the day, right? And that's a primitive machine. I don't think there's a lot of AI happening there. It's a robot, really.
Yeah.
You know, but it's...
Man, on the premise, I think it's a good thing that we have these machines that can do stuff that human can do. Because I think there was a story during this COVID-19 situation. There was a robot that was created, I don't know where. I think it was sent to Tigerberg or Grooteske. I think it's Tigerberg.
Okay.
So, you know, during the COVID-19, it has to do the rounds. The nurses have to do the rounds.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
But instead, they just send a robot to do the rounds.
Yeah,
so I think in that manner, it's a good thing, I suppose. Because during the COVID, you know how COVID it is. Instead of sending a human to be at risk, they just send a robot to do the rounds and then go out. So I think in that manner, it's a good promise for
this whole thing.
For this whole thing to manifest.
Yeah, well, not to sound naughty or anything, but I mean, I'm excited about, like, you know, these all partners that you can get now, like sex bots. Like, you know, now you don't have to deal with someone with a whack ass attitude just so you can, you know, get some sort of intimacy, bro. Like,
so that's the promise.
Well, I mean, I'm just like, you know, throwing it in there anyway. But I mean, like, what can we say?
I don't know.
I think I'm gonna build my thesis for promise, like on this premise that, you know, much of sociological change as a people, we were better almost, like when it was in alignment with machines and innovation, right? Like there was this chart that I saw. It seemed like people didn't change all that much over the centuries up until like the 2000s, or like not even the 2000s, like you know, with the invention of the steam engine per se, you know, in the factories there, you know, life became better. And, you know, with we spoke about this at some point in one of the podcasts where we were saying that women are starting to get to do stuff more now and not being at home because, you know, things have been made much simpler in a sense. So it's like this transformation that it promises, because at the end of the day, if we can get certain jobs that are demeaning or whatever, or it helps society with tech innovations at the end of the day, because now it makes it easier for us to focus on other things, like how can we be better people towards each other at the end of the day, if the work is being done by somebody else, by something else at the end of the day.
Yeah, but then what happens to you now when you don't have anything else to do because the machines are doing everything?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, yeah, I think maybe in the extreme sense, we'll get stuff being done by machines at the end of the day, I guess, and that's where you might get an anxiety about that, like maybe job loss at the end of the day. It's now starting to, take people's jobs at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know? But I think at the current moment, like we get it in patches. You get people losing jobs because of it, but also you get people getting better at doing their jobs with it. You know, so the nature of the job also changes.
But are they getting better at doing the job, or do they just have better tools to do the job though? Because the AI is actually doing most of the work for them, so they don't have to do.
Okay, so here's an example. No? There was a lady in the States. She was actually a professor at the MIT. I think she's still there. You know, the Michigan, whatever that thing, that big institute there, tech and everything. Yeah, so she was diagnosed with what's it called, breast cancer, right? And her question was like, why the hell do we always find the cancer when it's at a point where it's incurable now, or it can't be avoided at all? So what they did was collect a lot of data from, you know, breast images, whether the cancer was in development or it was like at a very later stage. And then they fed that to the machine, and then now they can predict whether or not somebody has a tumor or something that is a precursor to a tumor, in a sense. So it's like imaging, people that are in imaging are made better because of that now, you know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so if you're a doctor and your job is to keep people alive, if you can detect a cancer beforehand, then it has made you better at doing that, because now you can manage it from an earlier time point.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying though. Like, you just have better tools. You're still the same person. You just have tools that are better.
Yeah, I think we're speaking the same story.
Basically, yeah. But my point is though, such a thing is not AI though, is it? It is simply just a tool that you are using.
Oh, the AI.
To do your job.
No. Okay. Well, that thing has AI in it, because it's like the machine learning all these images up until a point it can actually predict cancer with any image that you give it. Like if you go into the hospital right now, right? You train the machine to see a lot of images with tumors in it, right? And that's how the machine is learning. Such that when you go to the hospital now and get an image taken.
So now the question now becomes, are you the one getting better at doing your job, or is the AI getting better at doing its job?
Well, that's a technicality, and I don't think we should be dwelling there. My thing here is just that, like, it's a benefit to us at the end of the day, no? Like, such that you have these tools. Somebody with, let's say, maybe a very silly example. If you're going to be playing in a field where there are thorns, right, or whatever thing that could injure your foot, if you had shoes, you're made better. You will actually be a better player that way, you know? Whereas if you didn't have the tools, then you're worse off. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it makes the job more comfortable for you. I guess maybe that's the best way to talk about it.
Hey, I suppose, man. It's a stretch, but yeah, I suppose I see where you're going with.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, but my point is, bro, like, what is the ultimate aim of making AI? Like, if you were to think about, or to summarize it, why do we need AI? Do we need AI, and why? You know, I guess in my head, that's what I'm sort of thinking about it.
Are those our closing comments or what?
No, it's almost like for the promise, like, because I'm trying to understand what is AI going to bring to us in a way, because that's kind of like what a promise is, right? If a Messiah is coming, you know what his promise is.
So I already gave an example about, like, what do you call it? The efficiency that it brought to this whole imaging thing, right, in predicting cancer. That is already an advantage, like, you know. So now we can always just now start to think about many of the other tedious tasks that we have had to do before.
So it's to simplify life, basically.
Exactly.
I think so.
Yeah, that's the basic science of it. Yeah. But obviously, building an AI system is not as easy as we want to imagine. I mean, you must also feed it data at the end of the day. So there is some work being put in, you know, in the beginning, and then at the very end, now it gets more efficient now with the more information that it gets. But in the beginning, it's a tedious task also.
So now, I think we've sort of covered what AI can do, right? It's almost like what I was saying earlier about this whole human augmentation thing, right? Where they are building organs now using the 3D machines.
Printing, of course, yeah.
So it can help you with a lot of stuff, and with the chips and stuff to help enhance your memories and stuff, or store your memories in that chip, so that when you forget something, the chip will be activated, obviously, to help you remember stuff in Alzheimer's patients.
Yeah.
So basically, yes, I understand that AI, but I feel like, in a way, man, human augmentation can help people. Like Elon Musk right now is trying to come up with that thing. What is it? Cyberlink? Is it Cyberlink? The thing
not sure.
The brain implant thing that they're working on, where you don't have to text on your phone. So if you're driving, you won't have to basically hold your phone and text.
So just for maybe skin implant somewhere here.
No, it's actually a Neuralink.
It's
something that they're going to implant in your brain. So it's almost like if someone texts you, you can sort of, I don't know, it's almost like you're connected with your phone. Like your brain is connected to your phone. You can just think of a message and type it and send it.
I think at the end of the day, and for me, it depends on whether or not there's need for that. Because it's like, the way that I look at it is whether or not you have an ailment or a disability that is stopping you from just using your hands, especially when it comes to that sort of thing. Because it's already invasive, such that they have to put an implant into your head. So it's like, for me, I don't like that sort of thing.
Yeah, but
it's invasive now.
Yeah, but I think it's because now obviously it's like a prototype. They might obviously develop it to become less invasive. Maybe
it's a foreign body inside my head, my dude. That's the thing. That's where like at the end of the day, like, you know, it's like, that's where I draw the line. Like, you know, if I can interact with a computer without having it puncture me or open me up so that something can be put inside of me, then that's okay. Which is why AI, at the end of the day, still has that part. I think we're going to get to the part where you were talking about. And I'm still loving the AI that's there now. Like, nobody's been caught up for any reason, really. You know? So it's like, that's where, like, wait, where were we going with this?
You see, this is why I'm in the conversation. Look, what I'm saying is, Chief, the reason why I was giving you all of these examples is that human augmentation, like if you augment yourself with AI, it can help you to function. Or if your spinal cord is broken.
Okay.
For example, there was this movie now, Upgrade, where they put a chip in someone's spinal cord or something. But I know, like, it connects the brain with the spinal cord.
Okay.
Chip, right? And then it allows the person to move.
Well, in that case, that is understandable.
That's what I was saying. Like, you kind of have to have a disability or something like that to accept an invasive body.
But some
For
people,
me, that's where I stand.
Look, I think at the end of the day, it's more of a personal choice in this case, bro.
Yeah.
Some people would still take that thing because they feel like typing and all of the stuff is annoying.
Of course. Yeah.
Now I don't have to sanitize my hands and all of the stuff because the phone itself, putting it in your face all the time and touching it, has bacteria and all of it. Some people don't like that stuff.
Yeah, but also, like, when you look at it, like when you're solving problems, I think there's some sort of pipeline where you kind of understand the nature of the problem, right? And then come up with solutions. I'm trying to think, like, what is the problem with texting when you're driving? Is it the fact that now you have to use your hands and now you might not be able to steer, or is it because your mind is somewhere else now and then you might make mistakes? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to be texting with your head, you see, so if you're going to be texting with your head, then that has solved half the problem. It's just that now you're not using your hands, but it's just your mind is elsewhere. Imagine, receiving a message to say your pops has died or something like that while you're driving, and now you read it in your memory there. You know, that sort of thing. That's my imagination at this point.
But that's why there's autopilot now.
I guess, yeah. So you see, there's so many promises with this whole thing.
So when it comes, you can just be like autopilot and then respond with that stuff in your head. So
yeah, man.
Hey, but
scary though.
It is scary.
It is scary because, like, the question was with this Neuralink, how do we now know that you're not reading my thoughts? Because if you think about it, WhatsApp, Google, everything is connected to Google.
Exactly. Yeah.
WhatsApp, course, Instagram, all of these things, right? Now, if this thing is connected to my thoughts, it means now you can read my thoughts as well now.
I think
it's easy
for me to manipulate.
I think the point that we have gotten to now is perfect for us to go forward, because now I want to bring in this whole thing called surveillance society, right? So it's like with AI, like I told you, like the biggest factor in this whole thing is getting as much data as possible in order for it to be useful.
Yeah.
So it's like with surveillance society, it's like, let's think about the fact that, you know, in some countries now, like especially in China, you know, there's like pretty much a camera almost in every room now. At the end of the day.
Sure.
So what's the promise in that? The promise in that is that, you know, crime rates are probably low and you can easily be caught because obviously your face is everywhere, and, you know, you can actually be looked up in a database and then be found at the end of the day. But there's a really dark
invasion
side to that whole thing.
It's a lot of invasion of privacy.
It's crazy.
But this leads to that thing I was telling you about, though, of the one mind type of thing, the global mind.
Yeah,
Because now imagine that AI has all that personal information about you.
Exactly.
To the point whereby they are predicting now. In fact, in China, it's like that actually. I think you saw that episode in Black Mirror.
Oh yeah,
where they can predict your future based on your present activities.
Exactly, and they can also deny you
opportunities and
based on your ratings. Exactly. I mean, like in China now, you can actually pay for items with your face.
Yeah, obviously.
Just go there, boom. So that means everybody's face is on the system now.
Yeah.
You know, if they can assign a currency to your face.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think they assign a value to your face, not necessarily a currency. based on what
I meant that.
Yeah.
It's just it's a different word. Yeah.
Yeah. So but that's the problem though. Like but I think society has always been like that. It's just now it's being upgraded to the digital landscape.
Yeah, I think one of the things that the other dude was saying the other day in China, they've come up with a system where if you're applying for a loan, the machine can learn from the way that you're typing that you actually are really desperate and you might not be able to pay this thing back.
Is it?
My nigga, how slow you type and how hesitant. So it's like, I mean, a lot of factors can come into you being hesitant to get a loan. Maybe you're thinking that somebody's going to pay you the next day. Such that you don't need this.
You see, this is the one thing I feel about AI. Like the emotion part of things.
Yeah, my nigga, yeah.
Because it's so based on a cold system, that doesn't take into account how you feel.
Exactly.
And all the turmoil that might be happening in your life. Simply just based on stats. That's it.
If you don't do this, then
it's because of this. Yeah. But it could be other things.
That's why I'm like, most of the time, why are people bothering with AI? Why don't you just stop at the robot phase?
That's what I was saying.
Let's just have that thing do the
AI.
work. Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
If it becomes rogue, they unplug the shit. And then now you don't have this thing now you're fighting against people or the anxieties that we have at this point.
No, but I think it's more just to control people, man. I always feel like it's always been about control at the end of the day, though. It's to allow the government to have an easy way to control the population.
Of course, I mean, I think you're right because I think there was a philosopher, back in the day. I think his name was Michel Foucault, like a French philosopher at the end of the day. Like drawing inspiration from this other guy, Banthany, I'm not too sure exactly. So there was this thing called the Panopticon tower or whatever structure exactly. So it was like almost like a prison system where there's a tower in between, right? And then that tower you can see from that tower you can see every other prison cell and what's happening inside of it, right? But then you can tell whether or not there's someone seeing you at that point, inside the thing, in the tower. We can't tell whether or not there's someone at this current point or not. So what they were saying is that now that gives pervasive power at the end of the day, which is like mostly like what China is now, like this, like pretty much every camera on every angle, so it's like it's pervasive now. You can't even do anything in secret now, and so that puts power in other people's hands, especially the people that are watching you at the end of the day. So you're almost like always in line just because you're thinking you're being watched. And they also say like exactly. And the other thing that he put across was that there's obscure power. So this is when you're not sure now whether or not you're being watched. Exactly. So it's like now you don't do stuff just based on the chance that you could be watched.
But that's what I was saying.
And you don't revolt now even to the system, and you don't even unionize or anything like that.
But that's what I was saying though. Society has always been like that. It's just that back in the days the AI was replaced by God. There was God, the idea of God.
Oh yeah, of course.
You always felt like God is watching.
That was important.
God was the first AI. That's the first human invention that we knew was watching us.
You see, I think maybe much of our anxieties come from that. Like thinking that AI could be like God, because in our sense we think that God must have feelings at some point. So we think like AI is gonna have feelings as well. It
might be, bro.
But I think like the people that the people behind the AI are the evil people here, man. Because it's like I feel like it's a good technology with good promise, but the way that it's being used in certain parts of the world there,
it's crazy. For their own sake.
Because I have no problem with surveillance. I mean, like if you look at your phone, there's a lot of surveillance that goes on in today. Like if you buy stuff from, let's say, a shop, it keeps now advertising stuff that you're interested in. Now you don't get like a dildo per se.
This nigga,
being thrown at your phone because you haven't looked at that at the end of the day. I mean, if you go out, like I see people nowadays in this lockdown, especially when they got relaxed and people could exercise. People are starting to run now, and you can keep a track of how many kilometers that you have. So that's surveillance at the end of the day. That is not bad. So that can fit in the promise.
Because I feel like that goes into a database, right? If it's Samsung now knows your database. Okay, this nigga ran this in this month. You ran this.
Of course. Yeah.
Now we can deduce now from this. What do you call it? Predictive algorithms. Right?
Exactly.
Are you likely to get cancer because you're not very
active?
In that sense, likely to get obesity. All of these things. Man.
So there's promise, but with every promise, I think there's just a downside there where we just like be like, okay, so now they've known where I go.
But it's how it is. It's like with Google now, right? If you go to a specific shop all the time, next thing you know, you're getting adverts.
from there.
It's the algorithm, man. It's fitting on that.
They just predict everything you do.
It's crazy. And it's almost like an annoying child there. Without any inquiry as to whether or not you need the advert. Yeah, they just my dude, what the hell? I just went to the shop once and now you're going to tell everybody. That sort of thing.
Yeah, man. So what's the way forward of this thing?
I think maybe let's speak about job loss at the end of the day. I think we didn't really get into it quickly. So, I mean, I've always been in arguments, per se, or like discussions with people. Like, for the most part, I always would think that AI or whatever technology that comes through would work hand in hand with people. But that's not, I've shifted in position with time.
To evaluate the load work. To evaluate the load.
That's what I thought. But I mean, like, as I look at it more and more, I'm starting to see, like, especially like with the fact that, you get autonomous cars now. Then drivers become obsolete at the end of the day. No more Ubers with people inside that are employed.
So
that's one of the things that I'm starting to appreciate now.
So let's say in an autonomous car, the driver doesn't have to do all the manual work. So you get to relax and just...
If they trust it enough, there will be no driver there. I think that's how the economics works. So obviously if you've invested in, like, what do you call it, in all this AI, and at some point you realize that it's trustworthy, the driver is going to become obsolete. Because now, why are we paying him?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. That's how, they look at this whole thing. So it's like, I think, at the end of the day, like, we kind of have to be policing everything, and maybe advocating that there be a driver in there still,
There will be no need
for
a driver.
Why? Why? Because now the company is paying the driver for nothing, basically.
No,
just
the driver
to make you feel safe now.
I understand that, but that's what do you call it? I was gonna get to that. My point is, I don't think people are gonna stay the same. I think the anxiety about people being replaced in jobs is because people think they are rigid. It's like, I've always been cleaning, I can't change. So that's where I'm standing. Like, I think the nature of the work is gonna change at the end of the day. You're gonna now have to move into new job sectors that meet the demands of the AI at the end of the day. I think maybe you kind of have to be literate when it comes to the AI story.
But the thing is, you have to think of it like this, man. The only people who are actually going to have jobs longer than most people are people who are actually good at computers now. People who can program. You see, who can actually create AI or enhance the AI. If you think about it, if there's a station where an autopilot car can just go and plug itself, because I assume that car would now have to be an electric car, right? There's no need for the petrol attendant anymore. So which means they also lose their jobs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the nature of the job is going to change, but I don't think people are rigid, man. But like, sometimes when you dealt a bad hand, then maybe that's where you find yourself having to be that. So my thing here is that at the end of the day, let's say maybe using one of the examples that you just used now, like a car being electric and everything. So now the petrol attendants are not there. I think maybe jobs will be available in maintaining the charging systems, perhaps, maybe.
If there's no machine to do that.
If there's no machine to do that, exactly, yeah. But I mean, like, I don't see it happening overnight also, which is why I'm saying, like, people still have time to be adapting to this new technology. At the end of the day, there were things that people could do 200 years ago that they don't see a need to do now because you can always use a machine to do it.
Exactly.
But how could they adapt to the new technology? Like, how could they better prepare themselves or equip themselves to adapt?
You see, that's what I'm trying to do.
Because
I think it's gonna be a next generation thing, man. At the end of the day, because it's like, even the way that I see it is that the current people will probably have to change only marginally. And then our kids are going to change drastically. They're not going to be the same as us.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, to prepare for the new age. So it's like, I don't. Yeah, that's why my anxiety is not that big when it comes to this whole thing. Like, I mean, there's been a lot of shit that has been happening in the States for the last 50 years that we are only starting to see now.
Yeah.
Here in SA. You know?
Look, I don't feel like the problem is how quickly the stuff is going to happen, though. I think the eventuality of the thing is more my concern myself, right? Yes, you will be safe, right? But as you said, your kids will have to adapt.
I think they will manage to adapt well.
You think so?
That's what I'm thinking, my man.
Because, like, the thing is, my question would be now, what kind of job can a machine not be made to do? Now, AI.
That's the thing. Like, it's a domain that we are not aware of at this point. But I mean, like I told you, like, if with every machine and use there comes a new opportunity. It's just different now. It's not the same as before. Those old jobs are obsolete at this point.
That's the thing.
There's a new thing now, which is why I'm saying, like, I guess, like, we need to put more further inquiry into it and find out what that could be.
The thing is, man, you see what worries me is the fact that with AI, you see with invention, it's like an exponential kind of thing. The more you've made, the more you can now make, because now you have more tools that allow you to make
of course,
more, right? So now there's now the artificial rap bot, right? They're now making AI that makes music now. Right?
Okay.
There's AI to open doors for people. Right? There's AI that's going to be driving cars.
Yeah.
It's almost like there'll be AI to replace almost any job that you can do. So even if you say now your kids will have to adapt, what can they do besides make more AI? Because even the jobs will be making more AI to replace more people.
Well, I guess, I don't know, but I don't know if it's going to get to that extent. Because what I'm thinking here is that even with a lot of the AIs that we have now, there are parts of it where you can't even apply it.
See, that's the thing. You know, so it's application, though.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's even in the application. Like, I mean, think of some of the things that you've used so far. You were not really involved in making it, but you kind of just use it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think, like, let's say maybe people with marital problems. If you can get an AI sex bot that puts you both into play there, you know, that's already something else. But that doesn't mean now you don't need your partner at the end of the day. I think that depends more on the idea. Do you need the partner at the end of the day? So all I'm saying here is that I think people are going to work in tandem for the longest time, you know?
With the AI.
With the AI.
Oh, I suppose.
You know, I don't think now, if they can do all the jobs like that, then the system changes. Then it doesn't become monotheistic in the sense that, not monotheistic, a monolith, where, you know, maybe just this one guy is gaining all the money and everything. We just now are sitting and they're doing the work for us, and then we're enjoying the benefits of it.
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, Farhad, based on my experience with AI so far, the only thing stopping AI or the only thing that will stop AI from replacing human beings would be legislations. So, for example, right now, right, in the motor vehicle industry, they now have the machines that put the cars together. It's no longer human beings doing that. Back in the days, niggas would be working in the factories, doing screwing the gears together, all of that stuff. Now, most of that job is occupied by machine now, right?
But there's still
machines need to be operated. That's the only reason why.
But but there's still people who need to watch the machines.
Yeah, because it's still the robot phase.
It's still the robot phase. But if it's AI now, do we even need those people now to come?
That's why I'm saying, like, the nature of the job changes. Because it's like, I think, you know, I'm probably more confident in people than you guys are, you know, because it's like, I feel like I'm saying, because of the time frame that we've been given by this whole AI technology, there will be job losses, yes, but there will be enough time for us to adapt to this new technology such that there are new jobs now. The nature of the jobs changes. It's not going to be the same thing. You're not going to need people assembling cars, but maybe you need them elsewhere. That's what I'm saying. In a stage by stage thing.
Okay, let me just ask you now, so that I can also reinvigorate my hope. Give me one example where you think people might actually still be
around or be part of it.
Yeah. Just one thing that you feel like, okay, this part I feel like AI might suffer, even if they try to make something to replace human beings here, they will still prosper in this field or something. Because right now I just can't see it. That's why I'm sort of like this. If you get what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, to me, it seems like creating more AI is possibly going to be the most feasible job for a human being. It's either you're coding, right, or you're coming up with more ideas as to what other AI can be made.
I mean, there's a lot to do with it. Like, you can still be a doctor and still have AI on it. You need that basis of the knowledge anyway at the end of the day.
Sure. If there's a scanner where you can just put someone there and the AI scans you.
It feeds you the information, but I mean, it's like, it can also tell you what to do. But at the end of the day, there are people that needs to feed that information, and they need to be doctors as well.
But now remember about that global thing, that network now that has all the data. If the data is already there in the server and the AI can just access it, why do you need you now?
But that data is not there. That's what I'm saying. It's a sequential process. I don't think like it's going to be an overnight thing where now we're surprised, like, oh my God, we don't have the skills. That's what I'm saying.
Then they have
that's what I'm saying. It's like at the end of the day, we're going to get to that where I mean, people are also going to find, we're inventive people at the end of the day. Many of the tasks that we're doing now are going to become obsolete. But we'll have new tasks now, probably more advanced tasks because of these tools that we have now.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask, do you think it's going to happen or not going to happen? I'm losing words now. English is not my mother's tongue. But do you think it's possible that a self-diagnosis test is going to happen in the future, where you can just hold something and then it just scans you? Have you ever watched the movie What Happened to Monday?
Yeah, I did. The same girls there and stuff. Yeah.
So basically, they have a mirror on the wall. They just sit. Well, they basically stand in front of the mirror. The mirror analyzes almost everything about them, and it knows what they smoked based on their eye content, and that's actually what Ashley Ace is doing now. The Oculus ID thing, right? You can use your eyes to see if you have drugs in your system, if you drank alcohol, when, how much is in your blood system. Almost, they'll have that mirror now. That basically tells you what you're sick with, how bad your heart is. Almost all of that stuff can be analyzed just with one thing.
But I mean, there's also the feasibility most of that whole thing. Does it exist already, or it's still futuristic? That's where I sometimes draw the line, because even with, it's been how many years since the Matrix?
No, but think about it.
Since 2000 when it came out, or 1998, I think. And then we don't have anything like that anywhere.
Same as iRobot.
iRobot as well. So it's like, for me, it's like, these people, no? It's good. Like, most of it comes from novels and movies anyway, at the end of the day. But it also heightens our anxieties at the end of the day.
Yeah, but the thing is, let me answer the first question. You're saying, is it feasible? Is it possible? It is quite possible, because as I was saying to you, there is Oculus ID already. It's just that it's not working optimally.
It's unidimensional almost.
It's unidimensional. But if you look at the mirror that I'm telling you about, it's not one thing. It's obviously taking Oculus ID, taking another invention that now detects the heart, taking another invention and sort of putting all of them together. The same way that Facebook is made right now, right? There was Mixit once. Someone developed Mixit, put ideas from Mixit and bought another company, put those ideas together, made Facebook. And so on. They keep incorporating these ideas. That's what Mark Zuckerberg does, right? He keeps buying all these new inventions that people are coming up with to improve and incorporate into his Facebook kind of thing. And that's why it's so good. And that's kind of like how the mirror would eventually have to be made, because we already have the components of it to begin with.
Yeah, but I don't think it just there's gonna be a lot of human power put into all this, man. Because I think human beings trust themselves more at the end of the day. Because if you just let information lie on the internet, computers might not actually make sense of it enough.
But are you sure? Look at what
you normally need a human expert to tell you that that's a tumor. Yeah.
But look at what happened to Trump. They used AI to predict human behavior, and boom. Though Trump was acting like a fool, and people were saying, I'm not going to vote. And that's what people were saying in person. But the AI sort of predicted otherwise, and it turns out it was true. He won at the end of the day.
Well, that's not where I'm lying. That's not what I'm saying, though. Somebody fed that machine. It's not like it started telling people that, hey, this is how people are behaving. You fed it data. And obviously, unfortunately, they got the data from Facebook. Trained the data set, and then now, started plugging in there.
It was us who fed the data. The people.
Yeah,
it was the people.
Yeah.
So there could be manipulation as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what
crazy,
Oh, yeah.
You see, so that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of danger, I think, to AI, man, if the legislation is bad. That's what I'm saying. I feel like the only thing that will prevent AI from taking over almost anything is the legislation. Because then that's how we now set the boundaries.
But there can be someone who can manipulate the legislation.
That's
as
the
well.
problem
So
as well.
we just hope for someone with good intention can take over this.
I mean, if I'm to think about it, there was a conversation that I was listening to. I think it was Jordan Peterson and this one other dude. And this guy was asking him, can science help, people to self-actualize at the end of the day? So then, when you think about it, you could actually just straight off the bat and say, yes, it can. But then it depends on the application of the science, and that domain is not in the sciences. Decisions on how you use the science do not lie in the sciences. The science is just what can be done.
There's ethics. There are studies in ethics,
but that's not in the sciences. That's what I'm saying. The domain for making decisions about how you use the science is not in the sciences.
So where is it then? Because I know you need to apply for ethical approval before you do certain things in science. So you can't.
If you knew where ethics comes from, then that's where it comes from.
So that's what I'm asking. Where does the ethics come from? Because I know you have to apply to a board of ethics. So is the board of ethics not in science, or is it like
it's
a standalone thing?
Yeah, well, it's probably a cross off
of many disciplines.
Yeah, many disciplines at the end of the day, but without science involved in there, though, because science just tells you what can be done. But then, like, you know, in the board of directors with not board of directors, in, let's say, maybe the ethics office will obviously have people, maybe doctors too,
who are scientists, I'm sure.
Yeah, but they just only at the end of the day tell people what can be done and what do you call it, like its potential implications when it comes to that science only. But making the decision, though, is not in the field of science. That's what I was trying to say. Like, so it's the policymakers, really. So it is up to us to decide where we use this AI.
The problem now is most of us, even if it's like a democracy type of thing. Most of us would vote for something because we want it, but not really fully understanding the impact of what we are saying.
Yeah,
and that's where the danger is now. If you get, because it depends on how fully well versed you are.
Yeah, of course.
With what choice you're making.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense actually.
You might
so, what's the way forward on this thing, Chance? Before we can,
I don't know, man. I'm for AI. Let's see what it's. like it's I'm probably like the least scared when it comes to that.
I don't think I'm scared, man. But in a way, like I guess my question would be: is AI the only next step now? Is it inevitable in a way that we will get there, regardless of what we do? Because I don't think there's anything else we can do to stop it.
Yeah.
Unless we die, obviously, and become extinct.
I think that is the next step.
Yeah, because we are inventive beings.
Or maybe we just delete it completely.
Yeah, but then our life will be very hard.
Yeah.
Because we are now used to. So already like with smartphones and all this stuff.
I know that. Yeah. I'll go back to. Well, man, I think everything has this, pros and cons. So we just have to weigh.
Yeah.
Which one? If the pros outweigh the cons, then I think we should go for it.
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's what the AI is about.
Yeah, that's what I'm also thinking, man. Like let's just find out and then react.
Yeah.
You know, obviously at the time and see like, okay, this is a downfall. Okay, how can we improve this subsystem and everything?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. That we just hope that whoever's gonna lead this must be a good person. Otherwise, we're all in trouble.
If you still have any of those left, man. Yeah. But I think for me, I'm excited, but I'm also a bit anxious, man. It's just the thing. I wonder what these people will come up with next. How can I use it to better my life? But what is the downside?
It's good intention. All that matters.
Of course. So. And maybe I would suggest that you continue, like, just engaging with it, just finding out what it is exactly they're doing with it and where they at. Because I think maybe that might allow you to have a proper anxiety level. Yeah. Because sometimes without knowing too much, you might be more scared than you should be.
Yeah, my nigga, sometimes
knowing what too much.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
True. It depends on how you engage with the information, of course. Yeah.
I suppose so. But I think the only thing you can do right now is just inform yourself, man.
Yeah.
It's not really
I actually prefer to be more informed than not to be less informed.
Yeah, exactly.
I think when you're more informed, you make better decisions.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, guys, we've come to the end of this episode. See you on the next one. Please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Tell your mother and your grandfather. I need to catch up with times.
Your abuela and your aunties.
At the end of the day, that's the only way we can know that we're doing this well, and if we're improving anyway. And you can also help improve, but just slide us a comment there. We're not gonna come out and bite your ass for it.
Actually, suggestions would be nice.
Exactly. We kinda want to hear this stuff.
Okay.
But anyway, thanks for joining us today. It's peace from me and my homies.
Peace.
See you.
Alright. Let's see, I think stuff was still happening.
How long was it?
Stuff,